Greetings, fellow captains. Today's episode is unusual. I will tell you about two in-game maps at the same time, Islands and Polar. They're quite small, just 24 by 24 kilometers, but are of great importance for our game. It is these maps where newcomers start playing our game. Both maps are intended for Tier 1 to 3 ships. Islands and Polar enable newcomers to learn the basics of shooting and maneuvering among islands, feel the joy of their first victories and the disappointment of defeat, and lay the groundwork for future skills. Visually, Islands and Polar are the opposite of each other. On the former, you'll see mainly calm, sunny weather and a mild climate. The latter location is an icy Arctic place with icebergs and islands covered with snow. Despite the differences in their appearance, the two maps are similar in terms of gameplay. The archipelagos in the center divide these maps in half. On Islands, this archipelago is almost symmetrical and stretches along vertical lines 4 to 7. And on the Polar map, it consists of a group of snow-covered rocks and pieces of land along horizontal lines D to G. Both maps provide effective routes for ships of any type where they can make maximum use of their strengths. Let's start with destroyers. Their key tasks are to conduct blistering torpedo attacks on battleships and cruisers, deploy smokescreens to cover allies, capture the enemy base, and of course, fight duels against enemy destroyers. On the Polar map, the areas that should attract destroyers are E1 to F4 and E7 to F10. And on Islands, these are G5 to J6 and A5 to D6. It is also worth mentioning that you won't find aircraft carriers on these maps, as they appear in the game only beginning with Tier 4. Therefore, destroyers have another important mission: reconnaissance. In addition, we'd like to remind you that credits and experience are earned in World of Warships not only for the damage you cause, but also for the damage your allies deal upon your spawning. The more so because in standard battle, the winner is usually the team that has sunk more enemy ships. In Domination Mode, the priority is to control key areas A and C. When capturing them, it would also be good to send a few torpedo salvos to the central area B. This is particularly effective when playing Japanese destroyers, which have long-range torpedoes. The most versatile ship type, cruisers, should stay in the second echelon on both maps. They should do their best to support Allied destroyers and help defeat battleships while operating mainly from open water. On the snowy Polar map, these are areas C7 to D8, G7 to H8, C2 to D3, and G3 to H4. On Islands, these are G3 to H4, C3 to D4, C7 to D8, and G7 to H8. If things take a turn for the worse, you can escape from the enemy, get out of fire, and regroup your forces. For cruisers, it's critical to not only follow what's going on near them, but also keep an eye on the minimap so that they can quickly defend their base or capture the enemies when they see an opening. And don't forget that constant maneuvering and accurate fire are crucial to success in any battle. Battleships will feel safer in open water, farther away from the islands. This is because while having excellent armor and formidable firepower, these ships are also very slow and sluggish. A destroyer can suddenly show up from behind any island and quickly nail your ship's side with torpedoes. Alas, you won't have time to dodge them. Things are different when you're in open water. Fewer surprises are waiting for you there. The most hospitable places where you can conveniently engage enemies are along horizontal lines D and G on the Polar map and along vertical lines 4 and 7 on the Islands map. In these areas, you can find some relatively secure islands. It's hard for enemy destroyers to approach them covertly, and you can hide your ship behind them if subjected to massive fire. The key role of a battleship is to deal as much damage as possible to all ship types using her large caliber guns. In both battle modes on these maps, battleships should make sure they are supported by their allies. When left alone, they become an easy target for superior enemy forces. In conclusion, here are some general hints about these maps. In Domination Mode, when you and your allies have taken over one of the flanks, you can attempt to occupy the center of the map. However, don't do this at the very beginning of the battle with no control over any flank. It won't be easy in either location. For example, there are only 3 pieces of land in the center of the island's map, and this area is open to enemy fire from flanks. Therefore, without due support, you'll quickly get stuck in crossfire and then back to the port. As for the center of the polar map, the 7 islands in Area B will cover you from crossfire, but on the other hand, they will make it difficult for you to timely flee from any superior enemy forces invading the area. However, if you capture the center with support from your allies closer to the end of the battle, you'll get an important advantage from the number of captured areas, which will help you achieve victory. In Standard Battle Mode, taking control over flanks is also of high priority, but you must remember that the distance between the bases is pretty short. If you plunge into pursuing an enemy ship to the edge of the map, you can easily lose your base. For those who have just started playing the game, it's best to remember that understanding the strong and weak points of your ship and knowing the peculiarities of maps will make your experience more interesting and fun. Having mastered these aspects of the game, you'll make the strongest contribution to the victory of your team. But remember, no matter how skillful you are, the main feature of World of Warships is team play. Play for your team, play with your team, and win every battle, Captains.